Hi, welcome. Wendy Anderson, justbe.me. Yes, and as you can hear, I've got a bit of cold and flu at the moment. So it's now Tuesday. Started with it on Sunday afternoon. Colds and flus, we need them every now and again to have them because it helps detox emotions that ordinarily we wouldn't become aware of without that pause. So we need flu. So the flu is related to anger. So when we get a fever and we're feeling really hot, so you probably feel this initially, kind of like when some of the symptoms start coming on, your skin feels hot, you start to feel achy, all the symptoms of flu. So the fever is anger. Anger is a beautiful emotion. It brings change. There's nothing wrong with feeling angry. So the anger is to whom or what have I taken a dislike. Sneezing can be annoyance when we are angry with being criticised, and we're wanting to get rid of someone or a situation where our limits are where we feel that our limits have been violated, and I can't swallow the rules, therefore can't swallow the rules, so I don't act with them, so therefore a quarrel will happenstance after me not following the rules, and we feel like our vital space is being violated, and risk losing something or someone that belongs to us. So I'm disturbed by an individual who personifies authority over me. So interesting. So I was thinking Sundays, tracing back my steps, what was the trigger for me to suddenly bring on this anger at this situation? I was trying to, is there a relation kind of that I could be really angry with? Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer for me. So we was watching something on Netflix called, I think something... Pieces of Her, something like that it was called, a series. Really, really good, really worth watching, really interesting. And I didn't know how I was feeling just while I was watching it, because you're just watching something, you just zoned out, aren't you? But my body was feeling it. So kind of by Sunday evening was starting to really kind of ache. Interestingly, it must have triggered something for my husband as well. It's his work to have a look and see what his triggers were, and it's my responsibility to see what mine were. So Pieces of Her, it was about a mum. She'd had her own history and her own tough childhood, which was then kind of like following through down the line to how she was mothering her own daughter. And there was a separation between them. So there were lots of things kind of in that must have been angry to me. So certain rules, like this girl was made to perform at the piano all the time, and she didn't really have a life, but she had beliefs in something else that she really wanted to do. However, this other thing that she ended up getting into, cost people lives, and but she believed in it politically. She was a family member of a pharmaceutical company. She was the daughter, and her dad was the boss of it. And people had died through some of these drugs, and she was hearing the stories. So she didn't want anyone else to be hurt. She suddenly found herself pregnant. Her dad didn't like the situation she was in, and he tried to drug her by giving her a drink and aborting the baby without her knowing. So again, kind of like, I can't follow the rules, and things like that. Found it, obviously my body was finding it really triggering. And again, my mum was 17 when she had me, so it was a scenario, and she gave me away for adoption, so there was a lot of trigger space there. Brilliant. However, once we realise kind of like what the trigger is, and once we kind of like get to grips with how we are feeling, you no longer need the symptoms, so the body can then kind of like release any symptoms we are having. Didn't you find it really interesting when we were in lockdown where not many people actually got the flu? Because if you think about it, we weren't spending time with families, were we? And we weren't being triggered left, right and centre. So that was really, really interesting how our families trigger us. So 2 ways you can deal with this. So if we are feeling triggered, then obviously you've got some low self-esteem, you're not valuing yourself, and you need to go back to the drawing board a little bit. So some practical things that we can do, and I am definitely going to go away and restart these, because I have to say I probably have been very lenient on my daily self-love ritual. So I do need to kind of like kick it up again. It's kind of like down to earth that I wasn't feeling worthy to actually put the discipline in, and it's kind of like, right, I need to take responsibility and put these disciplines in place. So one things that you can do is get creative, whether it's do a video. Doesn't really matter if anyone listens or not. Just do the video, because it's you vocally expressing yourself in just whatever unique manner that you wish to do it. Writing, poetry, painting, colouring, drawing, playing music, reading, just something to get you out of the headspace as well is really, really good, because when you've got flu, you'll be in that real negative kind of like mindset, the world is against me and everything else, and woe is me. So get out of your headspace, even if you can, if the weather's okay to do this. Find a sunny spot, take a great big blanket around you and sit in the sunshine for a little bit. If you've got ley lines in your garden, a little bit of ley line walking, always good, because we're receiving love from the earth as well as putting it in. A really beautiful transaction, doing the little walk. Obviously you'll not want to go far walking when you feel cold, so if you kind of like are still shivering and everything else, your back garden, or just a bit of grass that is very near to your home will do. If you are feeling a little bit more able, you're probably a little bit of a walk in nature, or even just to sit in nature, will kind of like help bring the musculoskeletal system back into balance and help you start to feel safe again. So having cold and flu is a time to rest and pause. So when you think about it, at the moment we are going through the time of the great ascension. I like to call it ascension. Some people like to call it the reset. I like to call it ascension. So we are being asked to look at things and to reframe things and to see things differently. So everything is created in neutrality, for us, by us, in service to us. So everything is created from the energy of love, everything. Your fears, your beliefs, your programs, you can think of it as negative as you like, but there's always a positive aspect of it. So normally whatever is triggering us can also turn out to be your greatest superpower. So for me, triggering me was not being able to speak my truth as a young kid, or to turn up authentically, and sometimes that was angry. But I was deemed that was wrong, and I just wanted to change something. So now is my time to do it calm and collectively and creatively with all of you. So thank you for sharing and enjoying, and I hope you do get something out of this. But it's like art and creativity, it's for the person that's creating it. It's not really for anyone else. It's for the individual that's the creator. If somebody gets added value from it, then that's just a bonus. That's just absolutely beautiful and brilliant. So do I force myself to stay Okay, so it's about responsibility. So you're feeling weak. So it's letting you know that your self-esteem is. Um, So again, it's kind of like do something to kind of like bring these energies back up. It could be, so getting the body, these will be the last things that you want to do, but this is you taking responsibility for you. As well, you may feel it in the C4, C5 and C6 vertebrae as well. So that's just kind of like just around your neck area, just kind of like at the back there. So you may feel in pain in there as well. So that's when we're not taking responsibility for ourselves. Every day is a school day. Every day is an opportunity for a learning curve. You know, so what if you've been unkind to somebody that day and it's kind of like all of a sudden you've got this realisation, or it's a gut feeling, you know, that something wasn't sitting well with me today. Just do the little review. It's okay. Come out of judgment. And this is where the self-esteem comes in, and the little daily practices. They can help boost your love quota in order for you to do the reflection work of, right, yeah, I was a complete bitch to whoever it was today. Right, where is that coming from? Where is that stemming from? And it'll be potentially beliefs that you've grown up with as a kid, basically. But once we know about it and we can see it, it's like, right, now the creator kicks in. Now I can turn up differently. Now I can change it. So for me, this is kind of, I suppose, where the anger becomes released, in that I'm now doing the reflective work. So therefore I no need to be angry with myself or guilty with myself for staying the same. And this is all subconscious emotions, because if we've been in any kind of trauma, which most of us have, let's face it, you'll switch off your subconscious from your conscious thought. So your conscious thought, you know what you're feeling. Subconscious thoughts and emotions, you don't. You've switched them off to put in a box to deal with later. Today is the day to deal with them. So boost your self-esteem, boost your confidence, and again, those creative practices are a one way of putting love back into yourself. Get into the body as well. Go for a walk. Do some really gentle yoga. Yoga with Adrienne, she's brilliant. I think there was one where I think she just did some really mild stretches, just got a blanket out and did Siddhavasana. Brilliant. My favourite position in yoga. So even just do that, but that's just signalling to the timeline that I'm just turning up for me today. So that's it. You don't have to do very much. It's okay with however you are being, but take responsibility for how we are being. So flue can also come about after a disappointment or frustration that leads to no longer sense what is around me. Really important one. So if your nose is blocked, it's kind of like something stinks and I don't want to see it. I don't want to. So we are kind of like in the realm of a lot of corruption, shall we say, in the world. And that's okay, because what can we create on the back of corruption? And wherever there's corruption, there's always secrecy. We're doing things behind backs to get one up. So what is the opposite to that? It's literally clarity and unity. So get ready, folks, because that's exactly what we are all creating here. So whatever and however you are turning up right now today is amazing, because your unique vibration and your energy is needed on this planet right now. So however you are turning up, whether it's taking responsibility for yourself, whether it's not taking responsibility for itself, doesn't matter, it's okay. The flue will come and tell you when you need to take responsibility for yourself and turn up for you. So this is why it's important to have flue, in order for us to begin to turn up for ourselves, to begin to evaluate our emotions, to begin to evaluate our triggers around families, which is also the karma. So, you know, again, we are learning to live without karma. So we've been in this pit of karma for God knows how long, in this first existence of this planet. We've been learning. Every day is a school day, and we are still continuing to learn at the moment. But it's coming up where we are going to really start creating some magical things when we come away from karma. Wherever you're in karma, potentially you're going to be creating a timeline of fear and lack, because you don't feel like you're worth your good. So accept and receive your good, reject anything that is not serving you as well. And that could be family members. So if you feel you are naturally wanting to reject certain family members, potentially you are feeling rejected by them at some point. So can you see the mirror? One way that you can help with that cycle is accept that family member. This is just the way they are, and this is the tools that they are going through life with. Can I forgive them? If you fully can't, that's okay as well. Would I like to forgive them? Again, that's as powerful as full forgiveness. Also as well, you can choose to turn up for yourself as well and spend some time away from that family member until you have boosted your energy pack. And then it's kind of like, then you can go in there untriggered. But if your self-esteem is a little bit and you are going to be triggered by the criticisms and the put downs, and you're not good enough and you'll never match up, and those goalposts of where you're supposed to be all the time from family members that just keep changing, so you just think, what is the point? I'll just stop trying, because I will never reach my goal because the goal keeps moving. Okay, create your own goals, take your own responsibility, create your own goals, because your goals will be easier to meet than somebody else's. So this is you turning up for you again. If you are fearful of criticism, and a lot of us will go, no, that's not me. I have been, I lived in a household that was very critical. I didn't know it until you know it, and that's absolutely fine. And then it created me to be critical. However, you will find that behind every successful person is a critical parent. So, you can make it your superpower as well. So I shall leave my love with you today. If you have cold and flu, look after yourself, turn up for yourself, take responsibility for yourself. Hardest thing to do today, be proactive in rest and reflection and your pause. Enjoy your pause, and think if there's any triggers at work as well that may be kind of like preventing you from going in. Have I got a fear of criticism at work when I go in Monday morning again? So and I think that was potentially my beautiful husband's triggers. So I will leave my love with you. Take care, everyone. Love you all. Bye.